Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, home of the BitSquad, the largest, the greatest crypto community in all of the interweb. Some even say they're an alliance. This is Around the Blockchain. We come to you every single day at 5:04 p.m., bringing you your favorite topics with your favorite guests. And today is going to be a great show. We have Hashoshi here. Make sure you check out his channel. He was dropping some gems. He just released a video, came out about an hour ago. So he also just discusses some good NFT gaming plays. We also have Crypto Jebb. They say he couldn't hit the side of a barn with a paintball gun, but maybe we'll find out in the future. Oh, really? Yeah, that's what I've heard. That's what I heard.
I don't know.
I heard it. I heard it from Brian Emery, half of a New Money Gang coming in. He might be taking out the trash later, but you have to check out New Money Gang to know what we're talking about. And we also have Ben. He went from live stream to documentary, back to live stream, and then he's gonna go help the youths. So it's always good helping the youths out there. So they say he's the hardest working man in crypto. I'm around him a lot. It's true. It's true. He's out there always doing it. You never catch him sleeping on the couch, unlike Brian.
Maybe once.
Maybe once. But that's after a hard day. But yeah, it's going to be a great show. We're talking about Sailor Moon. Wait a minute. No, we're not. We're talking about Michael Saylor. We're also talking about institutions reversing course. Seeing outflows turn into inflows and Ethereum poised to pop. But before we get into that, let's check out the market watch here. Bitcoin is not looking fantastic. It's down a little bit. It's down 2.5% on the 24-hour. Ethereum, it's down a little bit, but it has been a good run up previously. It's at 3,200, so it's not time to panic just yet. Avalanche, popping hard. I almost bought some Avalanche the other day because I want to get into some of these games, but it was like $10 like a month ago, so I just have a hard time buying it. Quant tears up. We look at the losers. Swiss Borg, sorry, Martini guy. Sushi Swap, Polkadot, AMP. So a lot of these had ran up pretty hard previously, so it's not too surprising to see that they do end up dropping a little bit. So, I mean, when you have a crazy run up over 7 days, 14 days, yeah, it might go down a little bit. Jebb, the markets are turning a little bit red. It's looking a little bit bloody out in the streets. Should we be worried?
No, I think we should be very excited, and I'll tell you why. Bitcoin and Ethereum are not rallying as fast as Cardano. Obviously, you guys know Cardano's 13% above all-time high right now, depending on, I don't know where the exact price is at the time of recording this. It's $2.82, so it's about 12% above all-time high. The whole market has been rallying nonstop for a month. The way that we got into this situation of having a rounding top on the entire crypto market earlier on this year was by rallying far too far, far too quickly, and not having healthy consolidation movements and breaks in between those rallies. I think the corrections that we're seeing on Cardano right now and that I think are going to happen on Bitcoin and Ethereum are very healthy, and I think they're going to be great buying opportunities for anyone who's looking for a dip to purchase. I'd be very careful about expecting that to be the end of the rally, but I think it will be a healthy correction.
All right, and before we go into Michael Saylor, someone in chat said, DZ's dad jokes, game is strong, and then Ben very quickly typed, he's decent.
It's true. He's okay. I mean, he's not like he's not like a dad savant or anything. I mean, I don't think he has children. He may have a few here or there, but to not have any recognized children, DZ's dad game is dad joke game is very strong. So
those who know Ben Armstrong, him saying decent, it's adulation and praise coming from the heavens.
It's true.
So that's good. I take that as a pretty good compliment. But let's talk about Michael Saylor. MicroStrategy, they did another big purchase of Bitcoin. It was almost 4,000. The number is 3,907 Bitcoin for a total of 177 million that they bought earlier. Just disclosed it. It brings their total amount to 108,000 Bitcoin. Right now, it's worth about 5.3 billion. There's a little Michael Saylor Moon right there. So yeah, I mean, we're seeing it. It's popping up. But oftentimes, when MicroStrategy makes these buys, the markets don't really go up. Oftentimes, we actually see the markets are going down. If anything, it almost seems like counterintuitive. But we expect it to go up because he's buying thousands of Bitcoin. Hashoshi, why do you think it's not really pumping? What number would Michael Saylor have to buy before the markets actually reacted in a positive manner?
I mean, I don't even know if it's about the volume that Saylor and MicroStrategy buy. I think it's more so about the fact that people are now kind of used to this institutional demand and company-based demand, especially from Michael Saylor. It's not like this thing you could retweet like, oh, it's this brand new exciting thing like it was the first couple times you heard it. Now people are like, oh, a company bought Bitcoin. That's cool. Moving on. And so I think right now it's really just focusing on, for people who really think about these things, the economics of it, that's just more Bitcoin supply that's tied up now on a balance sheet. And Michael Saylor said, I'm not selling. We're not selling. So that's Bitcoin that is off the market. And that's a net positive, even if the market doesn't react in a positive way in the short term. That's my view.
So he's been buying, for a long time, since last year, actually. So his average price of Bitcoin is $26,000. Brian, should he slow down at any point as the price goes up? Should he wait for the bear market, or should he just continue to DCA forever?
I mean, we all know that DCA is just the best investment strategy possible, especially when it comes to an asset there's limited supply and that you can't get more of. So, I mean, I think you should continue doing that. Kind of to reverse your question a little bit, how much would he have to sell for it to dump? Because if he said he's not selling it, that would be interesting. So we'll see if he does take profits anywhere with as much. If it goes up a lot, I doubt it. So I just say that he continues to keep buying, keep DCAing, and everyone else should do the same thing. I mean, look at the people that are the wealthiest. They're the smartest. They're not trying to time the market exactly. Unless you're Ben and you know exactly the date when it's going to go into the bear market, and you can make a ton of money and go into USDT or whatever it is. So yes, keep DCAing and keep buying. That's what I do. I just keep holding. I only leverage trade small amounts, but my main portfolio is just continuing to buy and hold and wait for the next 5-10 years.
You bring up a good point where what would the markets do if he sold? I mean, personally, I think it would just probably plummet, unless maybe if it was 100 Bitcoin and he kind of said it was for a tax reason or something like that. Maybe then people wouldn't panic. But yeah, I mean, at 108,000, if he sells one, you're looking at almost 1%. I can see the markets panicking. Now, Ben, you've actually done an interview with him. Anybody who's watched a Michael Saylor interview knows he's very much a maxi. Would you say that he's too much of a maxi?
I don't think he's necessarily a maxi in the common traditional sense of the word. I think a maxi will tell you that every other crypto will fail. Michael Saylor doesn't say that. Michael Saylor says that all the other crypto projects are like venture capital projects, like companies really you're investing in, ideas you're investing in, while Bitcoin you're investing in a known commodity, as he calls it, the apex asset, the apex predator of all assets. So the maxis will tell you they're all going to fail. He'll tell you they're going to do well. He just rather own Bitcoin. So I think that, when it comes to Michael Saylor and all of these buys, I mean, guys, we have to remember, and look, I call him Mike. Like, you guys might call him Michael. Like, I'll call him Mike, we're on that level. So Mike, I had Mike on the show, and, I tell you, we had a great time. He laughed at all my jokes. It was very funny. But here's the issue, okay? This is what you have to remember about Michael Saylor. I don't think Michael Saylor is going to sell throughout the bear market, but I think he's going to learn the lesson that it's smart to do so. So I actually believe you have to remember Mike is a baby. Mike is a crypto baby. Mike got in crypto just a few months earlier than most of the people watching this show. For the people that have been watching the show for years, we're way ahead of him, which means we've experienced the full market cycle. We know how it works. We know it comes. We know it goes. And he hasn't seen that yet. And I think if he had to do it all over again, like if you fast forward maybe 4 years from now, if he had to do it all over again, I think he would sell this top. And it's beneficial for us that he doesn't. But I think he's going to learn the lesson of, Bitcoin doesn't go up forever like he thinks that it does.
If you want Bitcoin to go up forever, hit that like button right now. We're only at 800, 805. I know we can rocket past 1,000 before we get to the second topic here. But let's talk about the price a little bit. So Bitcoin's been playing around in this area. It hit 50. It took a little bit of a rejection. It came down a bit. So last time we played in this area, it went from 55, back a few months ago. It went from, past 50 up to 55, fell all the way down to 45 before it began that run up to 64.9. So Hashoshi, do you think we'll have a couple of rejections like last time, or do you think we're just going to get past resistance and rocket past it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think to Jebb's point earlier, I think there are examples of these huge rallies and huge run-ups that just don't slow down, and that's when I start getting a little anxious about it, where I start to feel like it's on, you know, on rickety foundations. But these sort of these consolidation periods make me feel a lot better as we approach what we think to be new all-time highs again and again, moving forward from better foundations. And I also think that as, you know, people start taking profits out of NFTs and altcoins and gaming projects, et cetera, that are really hot right now, that'll also have an effect on Bitcoin's price, and it becomes a sort of flywheel effect to just grow the market in general.
Yeah, we actually have a little bit of a chart that we can reference where you can see the bounce and where it was kind of hanging out in the area. So on the left, it's the 50,000. You see, yeah, it kind of hung out in the area, passed it, shot back down, and then bounced around in that area again, then kind of did its little thing. Looks like a little bit of an M pattern there, head and shoulders. So, Jebb, what are your thoughts on this resistance area? I mean, are we going to see something similar? Are we going to see more dips, less dips? If you dip, I'll dip, we'll dip.
Nah, well, I'll tell you what I think about the dip. I think it's huge. Look, here's the thing. It's really important that we understand what actually drives the market. The way I define technical analysis is us looking at trends in a historical data sets of indicators and chart formations so that we can see those trends, understand how other people will see those trends and how they'll trade, so that we understand how they might move the market. We've got to look at historical trends, and more importantly, we have to realize that technical analysis is a way of us understanding the psychology and the sentiment of those of us who are working in the market. At the end of the day, if we don't understand how people are feeling about the market, then our technical analysis doesn't mean anything, because it's only there to teach us what the market is feeling, so we have an idea of where the market might be inclined to go. It's a good idea to personify the market and think about it as an entity with its own mind. It having its own mind means that there's two different ways that it actually moves. Number one, it moves short term based off of hype. The market will move because somebody breaks news that Tesla buys $5 billion worth of Bitcoin. That's not a news story. I'm just giving an example. And then everybody gets very hyped up. So what do? They go and buy it. But two, there's a second way that the market moves, which is actually the much more important one and the much more healthy way. The market moves because of underlying fundamentals. If Tesla bought however much Bitcoin, let's say they bought 500,000 Bitcoin and pulled that out of circulating supply, that is a fundamental change to the economics of Bitcoin. We just increased Bitcoin stock to flow ratio because we pulled down the current stock. So that increases the scarcity of Bitcoin, which drives more value to it. So there's two different ways that any kind of update will have an impact on the price. One, it drives sentiment by the fact that it has an immediate impact on the way people think. People get very excited. They FOMO or they FUD. That is what drove the rally, the majority of it, and at the end of 2020 and the beginning of this year. Most of it was hype, and that's why we didn't see those healthy corrections. However, over the last couple of weeks, we haven't seen anywhere near as much hype. Instead, we have seen Bitcoin starting to rally back up to where it's supposed to be based on those fundamentals. To see a healthy, sustained rally, we need to see the market moving because of long-term fundamentals that take time to pay off rather than short-term things like Michael Saylor potentially buying $177 million worth of Bitcoin. What I think is going to happen here over the next couple of days, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Cardano have already rallied very far, very quickly. I think all of them need to correct. I think we are going to see a critical phase here because Bitcoin and Ethereum are not above all-time high like Cardano is. They need to see if they can correct healthily 10, 15, maybe 20%, and then continue the rally. It would be very healthy for Bitcoin and Ethereum if they can do that. The question is now, can they do that sustainably so that they'll still break through 50,000? I personally think the answer is yes, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And if you've ever panic sold or FOMO'd, go ahead and hit that like button. I know most of us have for sure. Let's go to the second topic here. We're going to talk about institutions. They're starting to buy again. So we check the net inflows and outflows very often on the show. It's one of the things we like to cover. And there's been 6 weeks of institutional outflows in a row, meaning they're dumping their crypto 6 weeks in a row. Well, we just turned green where we just had our first inflow week. And it's a tune of 21.3 million. So it's the first positive week in 6 weeks. So Brian, do we? I mean, does the institutionals' actions, do they change how you feel about the market at all?
Yes and no. I don't depend on them very much, but man, I am so excited right now. I really think that we just broke through resistance, and I'm a very practical person, so I'm not always just this perma bull person on Bitcoin or anything, even though I believe in it in the long term. But we just broke a heavy resistance, and now we're just building support here is what I think right now. So we're just consolidating, and we're about to launch off. I don't think there's any question whatsoever that we're just going to blast by all-time highs. And I think everyone knows that. And it's institutions are showing that themselves. Like, it's not just the regular retail people. Like, big money is buying at these high prices. Like 50,000 is very high. It's near the top, as some people are concerned that it would be. But we all know here that it's going way past that. The institutions are showing it. They're still buying, and Bitcoin is going to the moon. And I'm excited.
All right. And someone in chat said, Jebb, waiting for the rap album. I'd buy that NFT. So, like I said, we're seeing 6 weeks outflows. Then we're seeing a little bit of some inflows now. Things are starting to turn a little bit green. So, Ben, what should we take away from this that the institutions have now reverse coursed?
Well, I want to point something out before we get there. I'm going to ask you to re-ask that question in a second, because I want to point out this joke that was made in the chat.
Let's see it.
I've been watching the chat the last couple of days. It's been real fun. What state is known for their tiny soft drinks?
I saw that.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
Thank you for that radio.
I figured that one out.
Nice little moment of brevity there. Yeah, so I was just saying, we had a month and a half of negative outflows. We just turned positive. What should we take away from this?
Well, I want everybody to understand that that's a little smoke and mirrors. That's not actually true. A lot of these outflows that we're looking at with the institutions is them hiding their tracks by moving Bitcoin out and getting into smaller wallets. That's what a lot of those moves were. So I think that the numbers in the chart, when you're looking at those outflows from the institutions, I think it's a little misleading, because you've got people not wanting everyone to see that they're manipulating the market, and they're going to manipulate to the upside. And I know this for a fact, because I know people that did this specifically. They said, I don't want people knowing that I'm making billion-dollar transactions. I'm okay doing it in $100 million chunks or $50 million chunks. And they diversify the wallet that has billions and billions of dollars down to many smaller wallets. So they still meet the whale qualifications, but they're definitely not, mega whale wallets anymore, billion-dollar wallets anymore. So I think that's played into that. But what I'm more interested in with the institutions right now is I'm much more interested. I mean, I do think it's positive momentum, just seeing that that's changing. But what I'm really interested in is where the institutions are putting their money, because we know they're putting in Bitcoin. We know they're putting in Ethereum. Now, Cardano, Solana, the next ones on that list, GRT and AMP. So, and I think a lot of those are, backed by Digital Currency Group. I think the graph is, if I remember correctly. So we know Solana, even though they're not technically a digital currency project, they're backed by the same people that back the Digital Currency Group. So I'm really interested to see how the institutional effect on the altcoins. I'm telling you, we already know where Bitcoin is going. We know Bitcoin's going to $100,000. We know it's going to go there in the next 6 weeks. When it comes to the altcoin cycle, it's almost anything goes. Like, I think we're going to see between Halloween and November and Thanksgiving, the top of that. But we're basing that off of one cycle. That's all we're doing, is looking at what happened in the last one and projecting this one. We could see something totally different as altcoins are really taking the training wheels off and being able to ride on their own.
All right. I'm glad you brought up Cardano and Solana, because Bitcoin was actually in the negative. It was the Ethereum, the Cardano, and Solana brought the total number into the positive. Wow. Yeah, so Solana and Cardano, they're seeing more inflows than Bitcoin. So Hashoshi, I mean, personally, I think that has to change at some point. When do you think that flipping will happen, where they turn a little more bullish on Bitcoin and start adding in all the Bitcoin?
I mean, I think right now there's a lot of excitement around projects like Solana and Cardano, because both have been picking up steam. Solana has sort of an ecosystem of interesting NFTs and other things picking up a lot of attention and a lot of interest from actual real world users. You have Cardano with a ton of excitement around smart contracts launching and the first dApps launching and the foundations of their proof of stake network being so good. So I think right now it's really, the focus is let's try and play these up. And of course, looking at Cardano right now, for example, and Solana right now, that play has been probably pretty smart. But I think the flip is looking at the historical trend, like Ben was talking about, and thinking, okay, Bitcoin has definitely got to be setting up to move in the near future, and we want to catch that train up. So I think the flip to inflows is probably a trend you're going to keep seeing as more folks try and load up and carry it forward.
Well, let's nail you down on this. All right. So Cardano was 6.4 million on the inflows. Solana 7.2 million on the inflows. Bitcoin was 2.2 million outflows. Are we going green next week, you think?
I would say next week probably, but I think what it will be dependent on is what the price looks like. I think if we see a healthy correction, like Jebb is talking about, that's when you're going to see much heavier inflow, looking for a better buy-in in the market.
All right, and if you like heavy flows, go ahead and hit that like button in the chat. And Twitch chat was wanting Ben. They want you to jump in the Twitch chat. So we love our Twitch chat crew here. Those who don't know, we also stream on Twitch as well as YouTube. So make sure you check it out. They say it's the most ill and most lit chat of all, but I don't know. Jury's still out. That's what I say. But there's also some interesting data here. So they're looking at the different continents. Asia is seeing outflows, while North America and Europe are starting to see some inflows. So, I mean, there's definitely a difference there. I mean, in sentiment, there's a little bit of a market difference in just, I guess, overall feelings and vibes. I don't know if it's China. Jebb, what do you think is making this difference here?
There's a cultural difference. A lot of the Asian cultures tend to be much more longer term thinking, and our cultures tend to be a lot more instant gratification kind of thing. So I think a lot of the times when the West sees that there's been a big rally and we've rallied 60-70%, of course they're going to be inflowing and putting money onto exchanges because they're looking to sell it because people are bad at holding on for the long run. I think that's not exactly the same culture that you see in Japan and South Korea and China and everything. Of course, I don't want to generalize, but it is a pretty accurate generalization from everything that I can gather and from a lot of the investment trends of these different regions. Typically people in the Americas and in Europe were much more instant gratification type of people. So it kind of makes sense that we would be saying, okay, well, Bitcoin has rallied 25, 30, 40%. So maybe we should put our money onto exchange. That's what an inflow is. We put our money onto exchange so that we can potentially look to sell it relatively soon. I think it's a difference in the outlook. And by the way, I think that whoever is keeping their money in a hodling position and not selling it right now is making the absolute best decision. That's not financial advice, but it is friendly advice, I suppose I could say. Right now, the way that you'll make the most money in cryptocurrency, in my humble opinion, is not by trying to trade every single tiny little movement. Now, if you're a trader, you can make a lot of money, but it takes a lot of work, and it's relatively, you have to be pretty skilled to do it, and it takes a lot of time. But I think there's a lot of money to be made in investment right now because, as we're talking about, we think that Bitcoin is going to go back to all-time high and far beyond in the next 6-12 weeks. And I think the rest of the crypto market is going to also. So for anybody who's thinking about being part of that inflow crowd and putting money on exchange, be thinking about, is this really the time to sell, or is this the time to double down on buying? Because a small correction does not make a good time to sell. It makes a good time to buy and load up more, just like Saylor is doing.
All right, so you're saying 6 to 12 weeks, so 6 would be on the low end. Brian, what do you think would be on the low end of us hitting a new all-time high? How soon do you think we can do this?
Man, it's crypto. Anything can happen. I mean, but you really want me to give you a time frame?
Yes, let's lock you down.
I mean, it could sit here for a minute, but I mean, I think within 2 weeks. I'd say 2 weeks for flying.
All right, I like that. I like
because
that.
I don't see it going down. I don't see it going down much more right here. I mean, where are we going to go? 44? Like I don't know. I just see, if anything, it just sits at this price for a week or two, and then it just blasts off. So
if you want to see a new all-time high, hit that like button. We are literally helping Bitcoin's price rise. As this video reaches more people become educated on blockchain. So you literally can help make Bitcoin hit all. But you have to hit the like button. You got to hit the like button. We're at 1.8. Hit it. Let's fix this. All right. Well, let's get to the last topic here. We're running out of time here. Ethereum. Speaking of coins starting to pop, Ethereum might be poised to pop maybe new all-time highs soon. We're seeing a lot of on-chain data that's looking pretty interesting here. So since the beginning of the month, more than 840,000 Ethereum have been depleted from the trading platforms. It's only a 5% decline, but that's still a lot of Ethereum here. We actually have on my computer here, we're looking at the balance on exchanges. And just look at that, the blue line here, and just look at it starting to plummet. So, I mean, Ethereum's disappearing. You know, like Ben said months ago, don't sell your Ethereum, don't sell your Bitcoin. It's being removed off these exchanges. They're starting to buy it. These big institutional players are starting to buy it. And sometimes, like Ben said, you know, they'll mix these wallets, they'll divide these wallets here. So it's really, you know, it's lower tier wallets, but it is the whales making these moves here. So, I mean, and roughly 87,000 have also been burned on top of that. So, I mean, Ethereum is the supply may not be dwindling, but as far as the amount of people coming in, I mean, we are starting to run out. So, Ben, who do you think is who's the main culprit snatching the Ethereum off of these exchanges?
Well, I think it's the collective Ethereum holder. I mean, I think that's who it is right now. It's basically holders withdrawing their funds from exchanges to get on validator nodes, or in some cases to move them to exchanges where they're able to, do staking. So I think that's what we're seeing. Like, yeah, of course the whales are doing their moves. Of course we're seeing the institutions making their moves. I mean, that's all standard, but I think really what we're seeing is the compound effect of people getting ready for ETH2. And right now you've got a lot of people who own a lot of Ethereum. People, like, you go back to, people have been in crypto for 2 years. I think anyone who's been in crypto for 2 years and accumulating Ethereum, you probably have way more Ethereum right now than you ever thought you'd have, and you're ready to put that somewhere and make returns on that. And so I think that is the secret sauce here. So we're looking at EIP 1559. That is long-term success for the burning and creating a deflationary, hard sound money with Ethereum that a lot of people have been talking about. But then you also have ETH2. BJ over here commenting internally to us. He loves Cardano. We get it. We know you like Cardano, BJ. But ETH2 is also a long-term play. But while we wait for ETH2 to launch, in the meantime, we're seeing the preparation, the withdrawing of exchanges to put on the validator node. So I think it's really exciting. I mean, look, there is no coin out there right now that is more exciting than Ethereum. Cardano is right there. Cardano and XRP have some great exciting things. But right now is Ethereum's time to shine.
Yeah, I would agree. So let's talk about that. I want to ask you, Hash, regarding Ethereum right now. So if Bitcoin kind of remains stagnant, is it possible for Ethereum to blast to a new all-time high if we're not even at 60K?
Totally. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, I think if you look at all the compounding things that were just discussed, right? Low supply on exchanges, for whatever reason that might be. I think there's a lot of things going into that. People moving to validator nodes, people moving just to cold storage, because now the narrative around Ethereum has shifted, with the burning and with, the idea of one day maybe having deflationary ETH. People are like, all right, putting this in cold storage, putting this in a validator and holding on to it. And then you also have people pulling it off exchanges to get involved in NFTs, right? Which is another big thing in the relationship between Ether price and the hype around NFTs and what that looks like. So I think it definitely is possible. What's going to happen, though, is moving forward into the space where people are thinking about ETH 2.0 as an impending launch. It's not like this thing that's 2 years away, 3 years away. And I think there will be a plan materializing for a merge sooner rather than later, which will really be helpful.
Yeah, that's definitely going to pump that price for sure. But let's talk about the price real quick. So right now, the current price right now, we're looking at 3,200.04. So, I mean, we're right in this trading range of 31 to 33. So we're saying, well, 3140 to 3234 is kind of a high volume area. It's there's a little indicator called the IOMAP. It's the in and out of the money around price model. And it's showing 850,000 Ethereum addresses are purchasing 9.5 Ethereum around that price level. So it's a very, very high volume level. You'll see it on a lot of technical indicator charts. So I'm asking you, Brian, here, are we currently underpriced, you think, with that, because we're kind of stuck in this high volume range?
Underpriced. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say that. But I mean, Ethereum, I'm totally bullish on Ethereum, and I'm totally biased because it's my number one holding. I've been mining it for the last couple of years. I've been staking it, like where I've gained multiple Ethereum just by holding it and never selling it. So yeah, of course I'm going to say, yeah, I think it's undervalued, and I think it's going to go up a lot. So I think we could see it hit new all-time highs before Bitcoin, possibly. It just depends. We have to see if these are still coupled together, and hopefully not. I would really, really love to see Ethereum just massively break out over Bitcoin. I mean, obviously for me personally, but Ethereum is the safest altcoin. When you're talking to anyone on the street and you are like, all right, what do you know about crypto? The first thing they say is Bitcoin. And then people always ask me, hey, what should I get in other than Bitcoin? And the first answer that everyone always gives is Ethereum. So, Ethereum is just, it's going to see so much more people coming in from the retail market as well, because they think they might have missed out on Bitcoin. So I really see a lot of good things happening for Ethereum in the coming future here, and I'm excited.
All right, so there's Brian, there's a lot of spot sell orders at 3,700, and then we have the psychological barrier of 4,000. What do you feel about us passing through that? I mean, do you think we can do it in like the next month? How soon do we get past 4,000, do you think?
I mean, I have to say, because I said 2 weeks on Bitcoin, I'm gonna have to give like the same time. So I'm gonna say within 2 to 3 weeks.
Sticking by your guns with the Fortnite there, and we're not talking about, the camera's too far away. I was flossing like a maniac there. If you like DZ dancing and Ben dancing, you can also check out Ben dancing on his TikTok. So make sure you check that out. Give us a like right there. We're at 2.4 thousand. I know we could get to 2,500, even 3,000. So let's make it possible. Let's ask Jebb real quick. What do you think about? So people are saying, it's up, and Ben alluded earlier. A lot of these people they got their Ethereum pretty cheap. What would you recommend for any kind of exit strategy? Do you have any advice?
HODL. I got my Ethereum at $160. It's up 20x, and I'm really excited about that. And I'm still not selling it because I think Ethereum has so much more to go. Exit strategy, people ask me this all the time. Number one, you guys have to ask yourself 2 questions. How long are you planning on being here? And how much risk are you willing to take in Ethereum potentially having a big crash because, I don't know, ETH 2.0 doesn't go over right, or, I don't know, Cardano beats it. There's risk involved, obviously, but also how long are you planning on holding it? Those are the 2 questions I always ask. Exit strategy, I would say, this is not financial advice. It's just an idea. It's what I might do in the future. I have to this day never sold 1 Satoshi of anything in crypto. Every dollar I've ever put in is still in crypto. I don't have an exit strategy because I don't plan on exiting. I plan on buying and selling goods with Ethereum and Bitcoin one day. Exit strategy, I would maybe look at taking a certain percentage of your profits, maybe say 25% of my profit I'm going to take out, put it on the sideline, and then look to reinvest it, or just pay yourself. I would look to set up, say, let's say I bought 10,000 Ethereum. I got 10 Ethereum, so I bought it $1,000 in Ethereum. It's up at 30,000, so I've made $20,000 in profit. Maybe you say I'm going to take 25% of that profit, which would be $5,000, take $5,000 out, and then you can either reinvest that into another crypto. Maybe there's a big altcoin coming up, and you don't want to put any more money in the crypto space, but you want to reallocate. I would look at doing it that way so that you're leaving your principal in, or you might even, another strategy is taking your principal out and then just leaving your profit, so you're only working with rewards. Another strategy is taking just enough out to pay your capital gains taxes and to cover everything else. There are a lot of different strategies. I'm obviously not the expert on exit strategies because I've never used an exit strategy, but those are some of the avenues.
I definitely asked the wrong person that question. Well, let's end it with the rapid fire question. We're going to go in a circle. I'm going to go back with you, Jebb, and then we're going to go around in a circle here. Very simple. Ethereum, 10K, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay. Yay. Hashoshi.
Yay.
Hashoshi, what do you say? 10K, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay. All right. Ben, is it in play? 10K, yay or nay?
Yay.
What do you say?
All right. And Brian, hey, 10K, yay or nay?
100% yay.
All right. Well, I'm actually going to be the bear here. I never thought that was going to happen. I'm saying 8,800. I think we're going to see a lot of pushback there, but I don't know. We'll see. I know if Ethereum hits 27K, Ben's getting a tattoo, so if I wanted to go up that high at least. But that's all the time we got today. It's been a wonderful show. Great show as always. I want to thank our guests here. Make sure you go in the description and check the links. Click them. Hit all their videos. Hit all the like buttons. Hit all the sub buttons, notifications, all that good stuff. And we'll be back tomorrow, same time, 5:04 p.m. So we got BitSquad. Easy out. Yes.